All right, everybody. In this video, we're going to look at the final homework problem from Chapter 3. This is problem 3.4, and this one will be relatively quick. We're just creating some calculations to analyze the current ratio, Walmart versus Target. 3 different years here we're looking at. And so we can just do a formula here in our Excel. And for, our current assets, or our current ratio, we just want to take our current assets divided by our current liabilities. Real basic formula. And then we can just, again, take your cursor, put it over the bottom right, and then you see how you can drag it across. That will just do our formula all the way across. And as you can see, that's our current ratio for each one of the years. And then the question B says, which company is more capable of paying its short-term obligations? So basically, which company has a higher current ratio, more current assets than current liabilities? And that answer would be Target in each, instance, essentially. I just kind of put that in the middle there, make it a little more clean. Okay, and then our profit margin is going to be our net income divided by our net sales revenue. And let's do a percentage here. So on this one, we've got 3.5%. I'm just going to drag that across again. And so as you can kind of see just by looking here, in general, looks like Target has a higher profit margin overall. And so on question D, as it asks here, which company earns more for each dollar of sales? I'm just going to format paint this too. So it's actually, I can just copy and paste this in because it's the same answer, Target, right? So what we're saying here when we calculate out the profit margin is for every dollar of net sales revenue, that is, the proceeds that you have after accounting for the costs of the thing that you're selling, right? You have to buy a product first and then sell it at a higher price to earn net sales revenue. And then you have to factor in all the costs of running the company, salaries and benefits, obviously, is a huge one. Rent for your stores, insurance, and, all the whole gamut of expenses that come along with running a business. And I'm sure Target has lots and lots of expenses for running their business. And so here we can see that most of the expenses here do eat up the net sales revenue, right? If they had no employees, no stores, no cost of any kind, if it was just the product being sold like a drop shipper, online or something, Target would be getting whatever that is, $63 billion or whatever it is. But after accounting for all their expenses, they have $2.8 billion in net income. So a pretty big difference here. So if we took the difference between those, it's 60 billion. I think that's billion. Is that billion? Times 1 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that number billion? Yeah, 60 billion. So $60 billion in operating expenses, basically, and leaves us with, Target with 2.8 billion in net income. So basically what we can say is for every dollar of, net sales revenue, they get to keep 4.5% of net income after paying for all the expenses. So if you were the sole owner of Target, just as a thought experiment, this would be your leftover proceeds basically after running the company, 2.8 billion each year. So pretty interesting. And that's where we get this whole idea of which company earns more for each dollar of sales. And since we have a higher profit margin for Target, you can see 3 point, in general, just a little higher than Walmart. That's going to be our answer there. So pretty quick one. Hopefully this makes sense. Not anything too advanced or complex in terms of calculations, but just interesting things to think about and different ways to analyze different companies. So anyway, thank you all for following along in this series of videos covering the homework problems in Chapter 3, and I'll see you in class. All right, bye, everybody.